Okay, so what we're gonna do tonight, we're gonna cover the top questions that we get asked about the NACCAS website. One of the top questions that we get asked, how many NACCAS accredited schools are there? And a lot of people want to know, well, how many NACCAS accredited schools are in my state? Some of them even ask, how many NACCAS accredited schools are in my city? And the reason why people are asking that question because they want to know about the competition. So you can go to the NACCAS website. And when you go here, you can scroll over to accreditation and then go down to accredited school search. All right. Now, on accredited school search, there are a number of things that we can do. We can find out how many accredited schools there are total. We can find out how many schools are trying to get accredited right now. We can find out how many accredited schools are in your state or in your city. So that's what we're going to do tonight, since people always ask that question. So the first thing we're going to do, we're going to click on accredited, and then we're going to click on search. Now, that tells us there's 1,107 NACCAS accredited schools in the entire United States. That's not a lot. We got what, 50 states? So if we just did 1,107 divided by 50, somebody do that in the chat so we can see how many, the average of how many schools are per state. So somebody do 1,107 divided by 50 and put that in the chat. Somebody do that for us. While they're doing that, now we're going to click on candidate. Candidate means these schools have gone to a workshop and now they're going through the accreditation process. So let's see how many schools are trying to do that in the United States right now. There's 181 schools. Right now, we got about 60, 70 schools that we're working on their accreditation. So we got not half, but a little bit less than half. Okay, so that's about, somebody said we got about 22 schools per state. That's not a lot, 22 schools per state. And that's on the average because some states have 100 schools, accredited schools. Some states may have 2 or 3. Now, the next question that people ask, how many schools are accredited in our state? So for all of y'all that are on this live training, if you put in the chat what state you're in, we can look it up. All right. And if you want to put what city you're in, city and state, we can look it up by city and state. Okay. So if you all put in the chat, let's see. Nobody's put in the chat. So what I'll do, I'll just start off with Texas. If you scroll down, okay, and put Texas in, accredited, and click search, it tells us how many accredited NACCAS schools are in Texas. Somebody put the number in the chat. How many NACCAS accredited schools are in Texas? Put in the chat. All right. Now, while you're putting that in the chat, somebody said Atlanta, Georgia. So we're going to look up Georgia. Now, remember, you put Georgia as the state, Atlanta as the city. That's right. It was 103 in Texas. Thank you. Pretty. Okay, so that is Atlanta, Georgia. How many NACCAS accredited schools are in Atlanta, Georgia? And if we scroll down, we can see the accredited schools. So put in the chat how many NACCAS accredited schools are in Atlanta, Georgia. Now, if we click on details, it will tell us all about the school. It will tell us the owner's name. Let's click on detail. Scroll down. It tells you the school reference number, the name of the school. That's right, 5 accredited schools in Atlanta. It tells you the address of the school right here. Okay. It tells you the accreditation status. It tells you when they got accredited in 2004. It tells you their last anniversary, when they got inspected, 2022 by NACCAS. It tells you the next time NACCAS is going to inspect again, 5 years later, 2027. It tells you the school's contact person right here, their phone number right here. It also tells you the programs that they are approved for with NACCAS that are accredited. So you can learn a lot from this website and about schools. Okay. Are there any other states that you want us to look up? Y'all can put it in here. But now you have an example. So let's look at candidate schools. And let's see how many candidate schools, we'll just say in Georgia, candidate schools. What this means, there are 9 schools trying to get accredited with NACCAS in Georgia. A lot of these people in our programs. Okay. Now, if we look right here, let's go back up. Somebody said New York. How many schools in New York? Let's click on accredited, the state, and let's go down here to New York. Right here, search. Somebody put in the chat how many accredited schools by NACCAS are located in New York. Put it in the chat. That's right, 34. If we want to know how many schools in New York are trying to get NACCAS accredited, we would put candidate status and put search. Right now, there's only 3 schools in New York trying to get accredited through NACCAS. So this right here is going to tell you the competition that you may have, that you may be looking at if you open up a school in your city or your. All right. So now that you know that, and a lot of these schools that are accredited, we did a lot of them. Some of them have non-disclosures. A lot of them going through candidate status. We're working on them right now. Some of you all are in candidate status. Some of you are working toward your first visit. Some of you've had your first visit. All right. So this is how you search for schools, if that makes sense. Are there any other states y'all want us to look up while we're here? Okay. Now that we covered that, another question that we get asked a lot, when are the workshops? And how can they sign up for the workshops? How much do the workshops cost? Where is it located? Do you have to stay at the same hotel as the workshop? No, you don't. You can stay anywhere you want as long as you make it to the workshop. How often do you have to go to the workshops? Usually once every 12 months. So now, if we scroll across and click on events and webinars, okay, if you click on events and webinars, if we click on workshop, guess what pops up? NACCAS workshops. So if we look over here, this is going to tell us the workshop schedule. All right. Now, it tells you the dates of the workshop. Notice this is pre-candidate class, Saturday. Now, if you've already gone to a workshop and you're in candidate status, you don't have to go on Saturday. But if this is like your first workshop and you're not in candidate status, it is required that you attend on Saturday too. So you go Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. So it tells you the dates. Now, it tells you the hotel where the workshop is going to be held at. It also gives you the hotel reservations. Now, it's very important that you read over here. Look, hotel reservation deadline. It gives you the deadline or until capacity is met. Now, it also tells you NACCAS early bird registration deadline. That's very important because you definitely want to meet these deadlines because you want to save money. And we're going to talk about that when we go down here. Now, this workshop is, you see the date. You also see where it's going to be located. Okay. And you also see the cutoff dates. The next workshop, you see this date, you see where it's located. Okay. They usually have about 4 workshops per year. They had a workshop in March. It was in Florida. So that's come and gone. So that's gone. Now, if you look here, workshop registration form for new school. If you're a new school, this is your first workshop, you're not in candidate status, this is what you're going to click on. And let me show you this. I'm going to make it larger so y'all can see it. Okay, now, if you look at this workshop registration fee payment, it's very important. You can only send a cashier's check or money order. Some school owners don't read this and they'll send in a regular check, you know, a company check or a personal check. It's going to get rejected. It must be a cashier's check or a money order. All right. Who do I make it out to? I'm glad you asked. NACCAS, NACCAS. Who do I send this check to? Accounts receivable, 3015 Colvin Street, Alexandria, Virginia, zip 22314. Okay. Now, once you send it in, I send it in by traceable mail. That way you can make sure it gets there. And you definitely want to follow up. Call this number or send them an email and ask them, did they receive your workshop registration? Okay. Next thing. Now, it tells you workshop is non-refundable. No shows, hey, you're not getting your money back. Now, if you are walk-in and you don't pre-register, guess what? You're going to pay $925. A whole lot more than what it cost originally. All right. A lot of people ask, when are the classes? It's right here. Classes begin at 8:30. They usually end about 5. Okay. Usually about 5. They don't usually go to 6. All right. Now we'll scroll down. I want to cover the important things for you all. Let's see. All right, we'll scroll on down. Okay, here. Now you're gonna fill out this workshop registering form. You're gonna put your name here. Okay. Email. This is self-explanatory. School name, address, phone number, all of that. You're gonna check which workshop you're gonna attend. Okay. Scroll on down. Now, early bird fee. Somebody tell me, how much is the early bird fee for the workshop? Put in the chat. How much is the early bird fee for the workshop? I'm gonna see if y'all looking at this and listening. That's right, Corey. $525, $525. Now, if you don't register for the early bird, guess what? If you miss the early bird date registration, how much is it? How much is it if you miss the early bird registration, you pay the regular fee? Somebody put that in the chat. Regular fee. You done missed the early bird. That's right, Corey. You own it. Freddie. Y'all own it. Is it Freddie or Frida Johnson? Now, you all own it. That's right, Jaheem. $725. Now, For all of y'all that procrastinate to the very end, guess what? This is how much you're gonna be paying for the workshop. I want to show you this. $925. If you want to procrastinate and walk in, there it is, $925. So you definitely want to register early. Let's go back up here. Definitely want to register early. Where I showed y'all those hotels. I'll go over that again, but you definitely want to register early so you don't have to pay a lot of money. Now we'll go down here. The classes, you can pick any of these classes. They're not a big deal. You can pick any of those. Now this ISS class, that's mandatory because when you leave the workshop, you're going to have to do your candidate application and you're going to have to do your initial, the institutional self-study. So you're going to do the candidate application. After that, your ISS, initial self-study. That's the 200 to 400 page document. And you may hire a consultant, whether it's us or hire somebody else out there. It doesn't matter, but you definitely probably want to get an expert to do that, all that paperwork for you or a team. Okay, so this is the workshop. So now you know how to submit that. You know the address. You know how much it costs. You know you got to use a cashier's check or a money order. And you'd be surprised. A lot of school owners don't get this right. They mail it to the wrong place. They'll mail a regular company check or personal check because they have not read this. So it's very important that you all follow these instructions. And I'm going over this because a lot of people don't know this. And a lot of people end up missing the early bird registration and some of them miss the regular registration. So now I'm back over here. Hopefully, can you all see hotel registration? Can y'all see early bird registration for the class with NACCAS? Okay. So you see that. All right, now on this website, we're gonna go back up here. Another thing people ask, are there any training videos that we can watch for NACCAS? Yes, they got a lot of webinars. Click on events/webinars, and then you're gonna click on recorded webinars. Okay. You can scroll down here and click on any of these webinars if you just want to learn more. Feel free to do that. Okay. Now, if we go on over, a lot of people ask, what are the steps to get accredited? Where do I even go? Well, it's right here on the NACCAS website. Steps to becoming accredited. We'll click here. Okay. Steps to accreditation. You click on that. The steps are going to pop up. It's going to tell you the steps. I'll make this larger because I know some of y'all need readers. So now, steps to becoming accredited. And if you go through here, it's going to tell you the steps. Basic eligibility. Okay, so you got to have a school approved by the state board. How many students do you got to have that have gone through the school? A lot of people think you got to have a bunch of students to get through accreditation. Does anybody know how many students you must have to have graduated from the school that have gone through the program? Somebody put in the chat. Does anybody know? Does anybody know? I'll tell you, I'll give you a hint. It's a really small number, extremely small. Somebody put in the chat how many students you got to have graduated from the school. Because some of y'all think you got to have all these students in order to go through accreditation and all that. But you do not. It's not zero, but you are fire hot, Prime. You red hot. It's not 5, Jaheim. Prime said 0 and he was super red hot. So what number do y'all think it is? If 0 is super, that's right, Jaheim, 1. You got to have just one student, Corey, just one that went through the program in order to get government funding. See, a lot of these rules and regulations and laws You all don't know. That's not a lot. Any barber, stylist, nail tech, esthetician can do this. If you got a shop, salon, suite, you can do this. Now, you got to attend a workshop. I just went over that. That's step 2. Step 1, get your school approved through the state board, get you 1 student. Okay? And when you go to this workshop on step 2, look at this. You want to go when your school has been open about 12 months. All right? About 12 months. Now, on the workshops, it tells you got to attend the workshop in order to submit the candidate application. Because on your candidate application, it's going to ask you to upload a copy of your workshop certificate. All right. Now, after that, you can go here. Now, what it's going to do now, you register for the workshop and you're going to learn all this stuff. It's going to tell you a whole lot of stuff. It's going to be 3 days. It's going to be a whole lot of paperwork, a whole lot of information that they're going to throw at you. It doesn't matter. Just hire an expert to do that work for you. All of those school owners, them 1,107 school owners, they didn't do their institutional self-study, their accreditation by themselves. They hired somebody. They paid somebody. So don't feel bad if you have to pay somebody or whatever. All right. Join the club. That's what everybody does. That's how they get accredited, get their financial aid and all of that. Okay. Now, that's step 2. Step 3, you got to fill out your candidate application. I'm not going to go in depth on any of this because we got a whole lot of other videos on YouTube where I broke everything down step by step. And all of y'all that's in the program, it's in the back portal too. Step 4, what happens after the school submits the candidate application? Guess what? You granted candidate status if everything is correct. All right. And there are quite a few documents you got to submit for candidate status. We did a whole video. I put it on YouTube for free where you all can watch that. After that, you can submit your ISS. But I want to share something with you. When you're granted candidate status, meaning you submit your application, you submit some documents and you pay for your candidate application and your annual sustaining fees, guess what? You can stay in candidate status for 2 years, but you don't want to be in candidate status 2 years. The minute you submit your application, your ISS, you want to submit your candidate visit application, pay that fee so you can request NACCAS to come visit your school. Because when you submit that application for them to come visit your school and you pay those fees for the candidate consultation visit, it's about $2,000 and some change. It's going to take NACCAS 4 to 6 months to come out there. So you definitely want to do that early because when you submit it, you're just going to be waiting around 4 to 6 months for NACCAS to come. Okay. So when you do the ISS, you want to do it electronic and you want to upload it electronically in NACCAS portal. And like I said, after that, what you can do, you can request your first visit, which is right here, requesting consultation visit. So you'll fill that form out, you'll upload it to the portal. Now here's a candidate consultation visit form. So you could click on that. Sometimes they do virtual visits for the candidate visit too. But as far as the final visit, I've never known them to do a virtual on the final. Okay, so you fill out the candidate consultation visit form. NACCAS will come out. That's a friendly visit. All right. They're not coming out there to lock you up and do all that. You don't have to be scared. It's just a friendly visit to tell you, hey, you need to correct this or you need to correct that. That's all they're going to do. They're going to say, Jaheem, Corey, Reddy, Kate, Mark, Michelle, Madeline, Zandra, you need to update this, correct these documents. And that's the purpose of the candidate visit, just to tell you what you need to tighten up on so you can update it and fix it. After that visit, they're going to tell you what to correct. You'll correct it in your ISS and resubmit it. And you'll submit your application for initial accreditation. We went over that before, and that application for initial accreditation, I posted it on YouTube for you all to look at that. Sure did. And a lot of people still don't fill that out. They've seen that application, but they will still call us or email us and want to join one of our programs or whatever to have us to assist them in filling it out. And you all can ask questions anytime. Just raise your hand if y'all got questions. So now you submit that application, pay your fees to NACCAS. Okay. And guess what? Then they're going to set up your visit, your final visit, which is here, the initial accreditation visit. All right. And they say they schedule within 3 to 6 months. They usually don't come out to about 6 months. They be lagging behind. They do. Sometimes it may be a little quicker, but it's usually about 6 months. And then you'll receive a letter from NACCAS telling you, when they're coming. Now, the next thing that you want to do, when they come out, you want to be prepared, especially for the last visit. But for all of y'all in the program, you already know the team is on standby for your final visit. In case you need something updated, then they can do that. And they got a lot of good things on here. Preparing for a visit, this webinar, the annual report, because you're going to need that. Checklists and timelines, preparing for the full visit. You definitely want to download these forms right here, just so you can become aware and more educated on it. And I've gone over a lot of these documents in previous training, so I'm not going to cover them today. And then last thing they're going to do, your paperwork, everything will go to the commission, and then you'll get your accreditation. They usually respond within 45 days. Now, well, we get this question all the time. What if when they come, we get wrote up a limitation? It's not the end of the world. All you gotta do is update the limitation, send it back in. So don't get scared about that. NACCAS is trying to, they're not trying to go against you. They want you to be accredited. Yes, because it's a yearly membership fee. All right. Now, so those are some of the questions that we get asked. So we're going to go back to the NACCAS website. Hopefully you all can see this. All right. So we went over workshops. We're going over the questions that we get asked the most. Okay. That's what I want to cover. The next question we get asked, where can we find all the different applications if we want to add a program, if we want to remove a program, if we are changing locations? You got to fill out another application for that. And all of the applications are right here. Applications and forms, okay? All applications and forms. You click that, and guess what? It's got everything on there. It has everything. All the applications and forms. If you want to get another location, a branch location, that's on there. If you want to add additional classroom space, that form is on there. Just everything that you want to do. If you want to remove a program, we talked about that earlier. If you want to change your corporate name, that's on there. All right. So all of these documents here are under right here, all applications and forms. So that's something that you want to remember. Now, a lot of people want to know about the fees with NACCAS. That's another big question. You go to applications and forms and go down here, guess what? Schedule of fees. We get this question asked a lot. People always want to know how much it's gonna be. What you need to be asking is, how much am I gonna get per student, for financial aid? That's what y'all should be asking. Okay, schedule of fees. I'll break them down. Your workshop, $525. And y'all can write this down if y'all want. Candidate application, $1,485. Okay. Then guess what? Your annual sustaining fees. They're going to prorate your annual sustaining fees. That's your membership fees. And that's like $1,900 and maybe $20 a year. Let's go down to annual sustaining fees because they don't have this really in order. And I really want y'all to understand this. Y'all see sustaining fees? Okay, right here. $1,940. If you came in the middle of the year, they would prorate that $1,940. So I'll just add $1,940 if we did at the beginning of the year. Now, we're going to go back up here because I want the fees to be in order for you. All right. So the next thing, you got to request your candidate visit. So let's go down here for a candidate visit. Not a full team visit yet, but a candidate consultation visit right here to 2425. Okay. Now, after that, guess what? Your full team visit plus 5,700. It's $12,075. Now, all this money is not up front, it's not at one time, but these are some of the fees that you're looking at with NACCAS. Now, there are other fees. You may add, you can add as many programs you want on your first part of your accreditation when you first are going through accreditation. But then if you get to the very end and then you want to add programs and stuff, guess what? They're going to charge you. So which is $360 per program. All right. So I wanted to cover this. Now y'all can look at all the different fees. And one thing I want to share with you all, you don't want them traveling on Saturday. They'll ask you that, but you don't. And here go the fees. See the early bird, $525, regular $725, walk in, look, $925. Okay. And you all can go through all of this. NACCAS handbook, you go on the website. Let me show you something. So here, if you go to standards and policies, click on NACCAS handbook. And guess what? You can click on it right here, PDF, and download it for free. All right. So we've gone over some of the key points that NACCAS has on their website. Another thing I want to share with you all, for the people that I guess you can put an in. Well, y'all don't have to put an in, but I want you all to see this because I'm gonna leave y'all with this. I want you all to see one last thing on here for the people that want to check on other schools. Okay. For the nosy people, I'm gonna leave you this for the nosy people. If you go over here and click on public notice, if you ain't got nothing to do, just nosy or whatever, then this right here, you can click on that and you can see what's going on. Like if we click on, let's see. Okay, we'll see right here, 12/10/2024. If we click on that, it's gonna give us some information. Okay, what it says is, look at this. Let's make it larger. Just for the nosy people. Look at this. This school right here, They lost their accreditation. Final appeal denied. Now, the reason why they lost their accreditation, failure to comply with standard 5, criteria 3, program outlines. They lost their accreditation because they didn't comply with the curriculum, the program outlines. That's nothing. Our team leaders could have did that in a couple of hours. So they've lost their accreditation because of that. This school right here, they lost theirs. Submission of audited financial statements for the fiscal year end. They were accredited. They didn't submit them. Why didn't they submit them? I don't know. But that happens with a lot of schools. Okay, if you look at this one, failure to meet standard 7, the audited financial statements. Final appeal denied. They lost their accreditation. Now, when you lose your accreditation, that means you're going to lose all the government funding, the Pell Grants, and sub and unsub student loans. So let's go on down. This school right here, they just had all kind of things going on with them. But whenever y'all have time, you all can go on here and look at stuff, you know, be a little nosy or whatever, and see about schools. Now you can go on down and you can click here and look at other schools. And we can make this larger. A lot of these schools that fall into this, they reach out to us, and a lot of times we fix their stuff so they don't lose their accreditation. But some of these schools don't know about us, so they don't know that they can reach out to us to have our team to fix it. Okay, this school right here, guess what? They lost their accreditation. They didn't do their annual report. That's something that the team does all the time. We do annual reports all the time. This school right here, guess what? Institutional self-study, that 200 to 400 page document. So a lot of these schools are not doing what they're supposed to do. That's basically how they're losing their accreditation. We will look, let's see. Let's go here. Maybe the latest one. Let's look here. And this is public notice. All right, so let's go to another one. So it's not like we putting people on blast, because this is public record. Public record. Let's see. No, that's not another one. I want to find one that we can pretty much look at. All right, so here, this may be quite a few schools here that we can actually look at. Yeah, this is a good one right here, because this one has a lot of schools on here that we can actually go through. So now if you look at this right here, okay, they're on probation. All right. With so they got to get their act together. Now this school right here, they can appeal their accreditation, but they didn't meet the audited financial statements. So it's very important that you have a good auditor, Nathan Ferguson. I refer him to everybody because he worked for the U.S. Department of Education, and he does a lot of the financials. He will keep you in compliance, make sure everything is good. So I encourage you all to get with Nathan Ferguson. And if you all need his number, I'll put it in the chat for you all tonight if there's something that you need. Anybody need that number? Does anybody need that number? Nathan Ferguson. So on y'all spare time, y'all can look at all of this stuff to see what's going on, what schools losing their accreditation, what schools need to get their act together. And I know a lot of y'all want to see that again. So this is what I'm gonna do. Just you go to public notices and you can see all of that. All right. So it has a long list of things y'all can look at. Hopefully you all learn some things from looking at this. If anybody has any questions, feel free to reach out. All right.